There is one pattern I've noticed, not only with the people I've been around, not only of the society I grew up in. I also notice this when I go through literature about historical events. That includes also crime documentaries. And let me tell you, of all the data of crime documentaries I've been through and the life experience I have of the things I've noticed and witnessed, there is one pattern. There's one common thread that I've noticed. And this pattern is really something you really need to be delivered from. You really need to unlearn this. This pattern is the default attitude that people grow into. Why? Because human beings are born in sin, and relief seeking is what fallen mankind does. So by default, people grow into this pattern. And that's the pattern of letting your guards down when things go easy. When things are tough, our defenses are up. We tend to become paranoid at everything that's really that we perceive as threatening unto us. And at that time, we tend to become very close to those that we perceive as safe. Which is an illusion, of course, but nevertheless is how people are when they are under a threat, or when they perceive they're under a threat. When all things are easy and things are just working out without any effort needed from your part, people tend to let their guards down and they become unconscious. They get along with the easy flow. And when you get along with the easy flow, it's very relaxing. It is. However, this is the pattern I'm talking about. I'm not telling you to be suspicious. I'm not telling you to become paranoid. I'm not telling you to walk with guns around everywhere you are just in case you need to defend yourself. I'm not teaching any of that. No. I'm just telling you, stop giving yourself over to easy flows. I mean it. Stop it. This is the pattern you see. Let me say, I'd say 99.99% of the time when it comes to homicide cases. As you know, most homicide victims knew their perpetrator. And many of them are related to relationships, romantic sexual relationships, or to friendships. So it's a common and known thing to the authorities of the world that people tend to kill their own for validation issues. Yes, I said it, for validation issues. Or they call lack of respect or frustration, whatever you want to name it. It's validation issues that people tend to kill each other for, not for money. It's a mistake to think that people are killing for money. Now, there are rare cases where it happens, like with a failed robbery or whatever, but most of the time when homicide happens, it's for validation issues. The first homicide was based on frustration of self-validation of Cain, who took it out on Abel. So that is what I want to put out there. Just look at, just pick a few homicide cases. Maybe not homicide cases. Maybe it's rape cases, or maybe it's cases when where the spouse betrayed his or her spouse and did very harmful things to the family. Or pick any crime case. I'll pick a few of them randomly throughout the world. Crimes that are not related to one another, and you'll find this common pattern that the victims gave themselves over to easy flows when things went easy. When everything goes easy at the job, when everything's easy in the marriage, when everything is easy in business, when everything happens on time, when there are no people around to bother you, when you're completely at ease, it's then that you need to be alert most. But the wisdom of the world, I would say conventional wisdom, which is not wisdom at all, but which is foolishness, teaches you that to give in to easy flows. And it's true that you shouldn't bring suspicion to a peaceful environment, because then you will introduce evil. No, you shouldn't do that. But you should also not be dangerously naive by just getting along with the easy flow and not being alert. I mean, if you're driving a car, for those under us that drive cars, let's say you're on a highway. You're on a highway, okay? Unless it's a highway that's completely empty, as you may find in some place in Australia or maybe even Russia. Unless you're on such a highway, you can't just put your foot on the gas and take a nap. No, because there are other cars around, and even if you're on an empty highway, it's still not wise to do that, because animals may cross the road. Or, let me say, if you fall asleep while you have your foot on the gas, well, it's not a thing you should do when driving a car anyway, if you get what I'm saying here. And if the police would find out you're doing that, taking a nap with your foot on the gas pedal, oh dear, you are in very big trouble. And if people out there find out you're doing this, man, they'll rage against you, because they will tell you that you're endangering yourself and other people, that you're playing with your life and with the lives of others. Now let me tell you, worse people are doing when they give themselves over to easy flows. And that is what people do most of the time. That is what many believers do also. They give themselves over to easy flows. And that is worse than driving a car. That's worse than sleeping behind the steering wheel with your feet on the gas pedal. Because that's what you're kind of doing when you give over to easy flows. And there's the thing. If you, let's say in real life, someone would sleep behind the steering wheel, relaxing, with the foot on the gas pedal. Let's say that someone suddenly crosses the street. They won't know because they are asleep. So they run over the individual. Or let's say that out of the blue, a car appears. Someone didn't pay attention to the road. Well, because you're not alert, you can't stop your vehicle nor turn the other way to avoid a fatal car accident. That's how it goes when you give over to easy flows. But most people do this. Once they get the relief and things are working out, they settle. I'm not talking about compromise here. Making compromises is natural. That's how human beings live together in harmony. I'm talking about when people have some relief outcome, they settle in it. They build their nest in it. They matured, so-called. They don't look beyond, they look any further, they're not even interested in anything else. They have their relief, they have everything working out, they have their house, their job, their mortgage, their partner, they have their few friends that give them relief and make them feel at ease. So they have their small bubble, and that's it for them. They don't have any interest in anything else. Everything else is irrelevant, and for them, everything else doesn't really exist. The only thing that exists is their bubble. I'm telling you, beware of that attitude. Because this attitude that I've just described, it makes you extra vulnerable to evil people and to the unclean spirits that are using evil people. Just remember that the evil people are not that powerful. Or let me say better, they're not really powerful at all. They only get power by a society that enables them. They're empowered by the denial of the human community. And that's why the demons behind them are empowered to use them. One thing about Gideon that I need to mention, I already mentioned how God removed 22,000 people from his army because they were operating in fear. And those people just settled for fear. They sought no deliverance from fear, because if Gideon would have asked who's afraid, go home, at least many of them could have said, you know what, I'm afraid, but you know what, I'm not going home. Our country needs us. No, they just walked away. At first instance, well, those were gone. But then the Lord wanted to reduce Gideon's army further. And look what he told Gideon. He told to Gideon, everyone that puts their whole face in the pond to drink of the water, cut them off. But anyone that picks water in their hand and takes the water in, yet they look around, keep them in your army. And that's how Gideon remained with 300 men. Now, let me tell you one thing here. What God reveals there is very important. A lot of folks don't realize how important this is. You may not hear this in church, probably. Now, I'm telling it to you. The exam that God, through Gideon, subjected those men onto revealed how they operate, and revealed whether they were safe to work with or not. Just think about it. You're in a war. Your nation's being oppressed by foreigners, and you are about to fight the enemy that's harming and hunting your people. In such a context, it's important to be alert. Yes, you have your natural appetite. You are thirsty, and as a human being, you need water, so you need to relax as a human being. But even when you're relaxing, somewhere your inner alarm, your inner antenna should be alert, so that just in case danger suddenly appears, you can act. To have an attitude like, you know what, it's war, I know, but I'm really tired, really fed up, I just want to be left alone. If you have such an attitude, people can't rely on you. And this is how the Lord revealed it. The Lord told Gideon to bring the men down to some small ponds with water because the men were thirsty. The men that drank the water through their hands and kept looking around, those were the men that looked at the bigger picture and understood the necessity of remaining alert. Yes, they drank the water, they took care of themselves, yet at the same time they were alert. Those others that were so focused on their own thirst, on their own needs, they dove with their face in the pond. So they didn't care at all that there was a war, that they were needed, that they had their collective responsibility to be alert. They just want their thirst to be satisfied. Let me tell you, people that are only focused on their thirst, their needs, and their expectations, I'm telling you, they will betray you. They will do you dirty. They will turn on you. They will endanger you eventually. So you can't walk with them. And let me say, you can walk with them, but it's not wise to walk with them. Such people, however, even though they're Judases in disguise, they can be very fun to be around, especially when things are easy. When things are easy and things are working out, they're very fun to be around. They can be very kind. It's very so-called empathic. But the moment a challenge arrives, it doesn't have to be a big disaster. It doesn't have to be a life-threatening situation. It can be just that they have a perception if challenge has appeared. The moment they perceive challenge, they're gone. They become fed up. They forget about you. Suddenly they're not your friend anymore. Suddenly they don't love you anymore. Suddenly they want out of the marriage. Suddenly they see you as taking advantage of them in the business deal, even though you never took advantage of them to begin with. So such folks, I don't care which label you give them, they will desert you. And they'll leave you behind with damage and harm. So what do? You relax, you live life as you're supposed to, and at the same time you are alert. So that anytime something weird appears or there's a bad sign, you notice it. And here's the thing, there are times you won't notice it, but that is because you're overcoming it. There are times you won't notice any bad signs because you're overruling it already without being aware of it. But you can only operate like that if you are alert. Well, that is the video for now. I'm saying this out recording. Remain alert and do not give yourself over to easy flows, because that is one fatal mistake you will regret.